From Simplay 3, My Buddy and Me SUV. Before you begin assembly, it may be a good idea to familiarize yourself with the parts. Lay them out in your workspace to ensure you have received all parts and can access quickly when needed. See the included instructions for a full parts list to reference. Place the metal wheel axle into the open end of the cap nut. Once the axle is in the center of the cap nut, use a hammer to secure in place. Slide the first rim down the axle towards the cap nut, ensuring the spokes are facing down. Next, slide the first wheel down the axle, ensuring the cavity inside of the wheel is also facing down. Lastly, follow the wheel by sliding a small washer down the axle until it rests on the inner wheel. Secure the back hatch of the unit by placing one of the hatch notches in place in the unit and pushing the other end straight down until the second notch slides into place in the receiver. Slide the axle through the rear of the body under the retaining tabs, pushing through until it completely exits the other side. Roll the body onto its side. Position the assembled wheel cap nut in the center of a cap nut tool. Slide a small washer down the axle until it rests against the body. Add the second wheel on the axle with the cavity facing out, followed by the remaining rim fitting into place towards the uncapped end of the axle. Place the second cap nut on top of the exposed axle and position the second cap nut tool so the cap nut is level with the axle. Secure in place using a hammer. To secure the floor panel on the bottom of the unit, insert one end of the panel into the bottom of the unit. With the first notch in place, firmly guide the notch on the other end of the panel down into place in the receiver of the unit. Once the panel hinges are in place, push both of the pre-assembled locking mechanisms toward one another in the center of the panel. Flip the panel towards the front of the unit. Push the locking mechanisms back out away from each other to lock the floor panel in place. For the front set of wheels, lay the wheel wire form flush against the ground with the end of the metal rod vertically facing up. Slide a washer down the wire form, followed with the third wheel. Ensure the open end of the wheel is facing up, and follow the wheel with a rim piece. Place a cap nut on the end of the wire form that is centered in the wheel. Place a cap nut tool over the cap nut. Secure in place using a hammer. Repeat this process for the last wire form wheel. Lay the arch-shaped piece labeled C flush on the ground with the molded receivers facing up. Insert the roof piece into the arch and secure the connection towards the back with a smaller screw provided. Secure the connection towards the front with one of the larger screws provided. With the arch piece still flush on the ground, place the handlebar piece onto the molded tab towards the rear of the arch piece. Secure this connection with two of the smaller screws provided. Add the second arch-shaped piece to this assembly, securing the connections in the exact same locations as the first arch. Insert the steering wheel into the front of the SUV. With the steering wheel resting in place, add the front piece of the SUV to the assembly. Add the door piece to the assembly by simply dropping it down in place, ensuring the bottom notch will rest into the receiver. Add the previously assembled roof piece to the unit by inserting the L-shaped tab under the front of the unit and bringing the rear of the roof down into the molds. Secure the rear connection point on both sides of the unit with one of the larger screws. Secure the top connections at the front of the unit on both sides with one of the larger screws. Secure the connections on the underside of the front with two of the larger screws provided. Finish securing these pieces to your SUV with one of the larger screws inserted on both sides of the steering wheel. Insert the adjustable seat to the unit by guiding the tabs of the seat down into the molds inside of the unit. Notice that there are two seat locations and the seat is reversible, creating 4 unique seat adjustments. To finish the assembly of your My Buddy and Me SUV, add the decals provided. Place the eye decals on the front of the unit in the indented headlight areas. Add the smile decal in the center of the front. Add the small circular decals directly under the eyes. Place the gear shift decal to the right of the steering wheel and the gas gauge decal to the left. Finally, place the rear light decals on either side of the rear of the unit. You have now completed all necessary steps to assemble your SimPlay 3 My Buddy and Me SUV.